Hi guys, it's Toni and I really miss you guys. I know it's been a while. I had a really busy summer. And look, it's fall already. But I love this time of year because it's just starting to get cool, all the bugs are gone, and you can really enjoy the outdoor space comfortably. Speaking of which, I was out with my family at a lovely rooftop cafe, and this restaurant had the most beautiful tall lanterns. It really made everything feel warm and inviting. So I want to show you how I make my own version of these tall lanterns using Dollar Tree kitchen items. I think it came out great. So check this out. To make my first tall lantern, I'm using Dollar Tree cooling racks. They come 2 in a pack. I'm using 2 sets, 4 racks altogether. Also from Dollar Tree, I'm using 1 tin container with a magnetic backing, floral wire, 1 tall glass cylinder, and 2 silver rectangular trays. I'm also using a silver candle holder that I found at a thrift store, wire, needle nose pliers, E6000 glue, and a little bit of masking tape. Okay, let's get started. So I'm using the cooling racks as like a cage to hold my lantern. So I want to link each of the sides together. And I want these notches here on the top and the bottom to face towards the inside of the lantern. So now I'm going to cut little pieces of wire to twist tie the sides together temporarily. And I'm just twisting towards the bottom and the center loosely. We're going to take this off later. I just need something to hold this together at the moment. Now leaving one side of this open, I'm going to slip my tray into the bottom part of this cage and move it up above the notches. Now I'm going to adjust the spaces between each side, and I'm going to use masking tape to tape around the cage to make sure it's snug and the tray doesn't fall below the notches. And the masking tape is also there just to hold it together temporarily. Next, I'm going to take my silver wire roll and I'm going to twist and loop the wire around each bar of the bottom of this lantern. And you want to make sure you wrap the wire around each bar, come out, wrap it around the bottom and around the next bar to keep the wire from sliding across the bars. And make sure you adjust for the space between the corners and make sure that's snug, but wrap the wire around the bottom part of the corners really well. When you finish going all the way around, you want to twist the ends together, cut them, and use the needle nose pliers to curl the ends in neatly. Now that the bottom's done, it's time to do the top. For the top, I'm going to use another tray as a cover, and much like the bottom, the top will fit on top of the cage the same way the bottom, using the notches to hold it in place. But I'm going to turn the top pan upside down. And again, I'm going to use the tape to hold the cage in place so I know exactly where to put my wire. But the top will be a little more loose because I want to be able to remove the top so that I could put my candle in it. Since I don't want the wire to take up too much space at the top, I'm only going to wrap the wire around the first 2 bars near the corner of each side. That way it'll be easier for me to take the top on and off so that I can place a candle inside of it. And now that the tape's off, you can see how snug the top and the bottom fits in. Now to help keep my candle in place inside this lantern, I'm going to use the top of this magnetic container. I'm going to put a little E6000 around the edges of the top and stick that right in the center of my bottom tray. While that piece is drying, I'm going to use my thrift store candlestick holder and the bottom part of my magnetic container to make a top handle for my top piece. Now I got this piece from a thrift store, but you could use a candlestick holder from the Dollar Tree. So now I'm going to glue my top pieces together, and when those dry, I'm going to glue that on top of the top tray. Now the last thing I want to do is to add a handle for this lantern. So I'm using the floral wire, and I'm just going to cut a large enough piece to loop around to the other side, and also have the opening wide enough to take the top out. So leaving a couple of inches towards the end so that I could loop the wire around one side of the middle bar and then loop it around again the other side and then twist it together at the ends. And you're going to do that on both ends, and you have a handle for hanging, and you can still bend it down when you want to lift the top off. Now you can leave this all silver as it is, and it'll cost you about $5 to make this, but I want to paint this to make it more uniform. But before I do that, I want to show you how to make a smaller round version like the one to the right. For this version, I'm starting with one canister and one cooling rack. Start by using the pliers to slightly bend each facet. And you want the notches to face on the outside this time. So you're bending just a little bit inward, right next to each bar. Unfortunately, right around here in the center of one side, there's a little weak spot that always breaks no matter what, and it's just on the bottom half. The top won't break, but don't worry about it. Keep bending it around and we'll fix it later. And you're going to bend the top end the same way until you have something that looks like this, a little open cylinder. Next, I want to take those little top and bottom notches and bend them inward so that they're sort of flush with the outside of the cylinder. Now I'm going to take the top of my canister and put a little E6000 around the edges on the inside. I'm also going to put a few dabs of hot glue at the top part of the inside just to hold the piece in place. Now I'm going to be gluing the broken side down, and I'm going to position my cylinder wire cage so that it fits perfectly inside the top of the canister. And you want to make sure that the broken ends line up. Now while that's drying, I'm going to make the top for this piece using the bottom half of the canister and my 40-cent thrift store candle holder. And this time I'm gluing the candlestick holder to the bottom of the canister so that the opening will fit over the cage. Now after that dries, I'm going to make a little handle, a little round handle to hang from the top so that I could hang this outside. And I'm using a floral wire. I'm going to make a little loop, twist it, and wrap it tightly around the neck of the candle holder. And then I'm going to twist it again and give it a nice rounded shape. I'm making another lantern just like this, but this time for the top I'm using a Dollar Tree tea candle holder. And I'm adding the floral wire to the top of this to make the little handle. Now that I have all my pieces put together, I'm going to take everything outside and spray paint them all black. I'm using Ace Rust Stop Barbecue. This spray paint is supposed to resist heat up to 1,000 degrees, and I thought since these lanterns will be hanging outside, this paint should be good to help it hold up to the weather and the heat from the candles. So after painting all sides of each pieces, this is what I have. And these look really nice and black. But I really like the rustic look, so I think I'm going to paint the tops of these with just a little touch of bronze. For this, I'm using my Your House at Home multi-surface metallic paint, and I'm just going to brush on a few strokes of bronze and kind of rub that in with a brush, with a dry brush. And I'm going to do the same to the inside of the bottom tray and to the tops of the smaller lanterns. Now before I attach the tops to the smaller lanterns, I found these little candle holders from Dollar Tree. These little fall ones, really pretty, orange with the ribbon, and I'm going to just slip that right into the cage with the ribbon facing the opening, and it fits perfectly inside there. And to attach the top, I'm just going to squeeze the cage in a little and put the top on. And the tops fit pretty snug on here, but I'm going to use this black Dollar Tree wire, which came in a pack with the other ones, and tie the tops onto the cages so that they won't come off. And I'm just sort of folding it in half and tying it around the neck a couple of times, and then I'm going to twist tie the end to the edge of the cage and do that on each side. So if you want, you can untwist tie it and take it off, but you don't really have to. You can insert a candle in through the front opening whenever you need to replace the candles. Just squeeze that in through the opening, and I would use a candle that's inside a glass already. And for my large cage, I'm using a large glass cylinder with a large candle, wrapping a gold ribbon around it, and I'm using this bronze leaf that I got from another Dollar Tree candle holder, and I'm going to tie that around the ribbon to make it look more like fall. And that large vase fits perfectly inside the centerpiece. Now I think these lanterns are all ready to hang outside. And this one looks perfect in my memorial garden. And for just $4 each, I could hang a bunch of these small ones all over my yard. And they'll make a beautiful scene for a nighttime gathering. But they also look just as lovely during the day. Either way, they will definitely help warm up those chilly fall mornings and evenings. Now you can get our metallic acrylic craft paint in 8 shimmering colors, available now at Amazon.com. Follow me on Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, and Snapchat at Your House at Home and Your House at Home TV for daily home, food, and gardening tips.